Did everything go for you exactly how you wanted it this week? Everything in your heart, everything in your life, everything in our country, did everything go how you would have written it if you were in charge of the script? I'm going to go ahead and say probably not. Did everything go how we would have written it for the last 100 years once peace was proclaimed in the war to end all wars? It didn't, or you wouldn't have had to have served. You wouldn't have to have served. You wouldn't have to have served. You see, we have to take our transcendence where we can get it. In this imperfect, broken world that never is wholly what we would dream it to be, we have to give our gratitude in the context not of what we dream about, but what is here and now. And we have to sing out the praises for a world where the sacred and the mundane, where the blessed and the broken come face to face over and over again. A lesson that I was blessed to relearn recently on one particular Thursday night when I was waiting in an interminable line at the local CVS pharmacy. You know how I am. I'm always preaching about really random things, but there's a point. At the CVS pharmacy one Thursday night, with the tabloid headlines rolling out over my shoulder, I was standing there feeling so burdened by it all that I didn't know what to do. And as I stood there in the line, I looked up above the pharmacy checkout counter, and I saw there what I took to be either a photograph or a really realistic, glorious painting. I wasn't sure what I was looking at, but what I saw there was what seemed to me like some drearily beautiful, delightfully somber impressionist was trying to capture the very colors of a drippy October evening. The muted colors, almost all gray and black, were there, framed just above the checkout line. There were shadings of white and dashes of silver and a hint of streaky rainbows that may have been misty rivers. And in the middle of that normal Thursday, as I stood in that line, I looked away from the tabloid headlines, and I gazed for a time at that image over my head with gratitude. I was, in fact, just about to ask the cashier where they had gotten that beautiful and mournful photograph of rainbows, when all of a sudden, the image broke into a jittery blur, and the mystery before my eyes was revealed. You see, it turns out that my rainbow-streaked Victorian city, capturing all the pathos of an imperfect and beautiful world, it was, in fact, just the downward lens angle of a broken security camera pointed in extreme close-up at about 2 square feet of blacktop in the CVS parking lot. The rainbow city that I saw in my clearly overly florid imagination was, in fact, a small gasoline spill from some passing car, no doubt headed on down in time to the Chesapeake Bay watershed to take its part in the continued despoilation of the natural world. You know, it was that. It wasn't a city made of rainbows. It was just a Thursday night and another broken thing in the middle of so many broken things. And the brushstrokes I took for rainbows were pollutants. And the smokestacks of some distant city were tire marks, and I bought my allergy medicine and my toothpaste. And I went dejectedly back home. And yet I still can't quite shake the memory of it. And I still can't quite shake the way that broken thing made me feel when a guest house of my life opened up and I was able to see something beautiful, when I was able to say hello to a surprise, to be grateful for a moment's reprise in the steady beat of bad news. And who would not be grateful for a reprise, no matter how it comes, no matter when, no matter what form it takes, especially now. You see, the thing about gratitude is that you don't get to control it. You don't get to manage it. You don't always get to hold it at bay. It sneaks up on you. It presents itself sometimes when there is no rational reason, and it demands your attention when the whole rest of the world seems determined that you should pass on by. And the other thing about gratitude, I think, is that if we spend all of our time waiting around for something perfect and unbroken and untainted to be grateful for, we are going to spend a very, very, very long time waiting. Which, frankly, just kind of sucks for us. Because there is an enormous, so voluminous I could not even quote it, there is an enormous body of literature that talks on and on about the enormous health benefits of being a grateful person. Have any of you read this? Grateful people actually live longer. It is a real thing. It happens. Grateful people forgive faster. Grateful people have lower blood pressure. Grateful people, it seems to me, must have better skin and glowing hair. And if I am really honest with you, the whole body of literature about the health benefits of gratitude is frankly a little annoying to me, as if all we have to do is be grateful every single day and we're going to wake up magically transmogrified into Gwyneth Paltrow. And Oprah's going to invite us all over for supper. I am annoyed at this tendency among us, and yet it is true. It is an actual fact that living with a regular encounter with gratitude, it makes us more whole, even when the lives we are living and the world we are living in feels anything but. And I think what frustrates or maybe just annoys me about the objectively true body of literature about the health benefits of gratitude is simply this: that sometimes it feels like yet another incarnation of the age-old practice of thanksgiving as an act of quid pro quo. Something for something. When gratitude is framed mostly around its usefulness to the grateful person, it's a thank you card for a Christmas present. It's a prayer of thanksgiving to the God who didn't let you get hit in that car accident when someone else did. It is predicated on a privilege that only comes in the wake of good news. And I don't know about you, but I don't believe in a God who works like that. As theologian Diana Butler Bass has written, gratitude as ritual repayment is long enmeshed in both culture and religion. It dates all the way back to feudal days of tribute paid to gracious lords and further into the mists of ritual sacrifice and gratitude for the gods who protected us mortals from the winds and the fires that threatened us and threaten us still. In exchange for protection, we humans are accustomed to giving thanks. In exchange for a brand new toy, our children are rightly taught to say thank you. In exchange for the health benefits, we are told to notice all the beautiful things around us. But this model of gratitude as exchange and as expectation of exchange, this model of quid pro quo, of something for something, it has its limits. It frays at the edges in the presence of heartbreak, suffering, and actual loss. It gets shallow when the gifts of our lives don't arrive in the form we have been expecting them in. And the real glory, the real reward of gratitude comes on a spiritual level when we can make the turn from gratitude as an emotional response to a random event. You know how this works. Gratitude as an emotional response to the dog that didn't run away, the CAT scan that had good news, the floor that is somehow still clean at the end of the weekend. Gratitude as an emotional response to a random event, and instead turn it to gratitude not just in response to all the goodies, but as an outlook that enables us to see wonder and connection and beauty everywhere we go. Yes, everywhere we go. Diana Butler Bass says that this world contains within it a gratuitous distribution of joy. A gratuitous distribution of wonder and provision and creativity. And so gratitude is a cultivated willingness to be attuned to this wonder scattered everywhere. Not just to be thankful for this perfection or for this lucky break, but to be attuned to this pervasive, interconnected wonder we all share that we get to touch, to celebrate, and to honor in the living of our imperfect and interconnected lives. And that assumption of interconnection, it is the other utterly essential element of what it means to live a truly grateful life. Being grateful assumes that there is someone or something to be grateful for. When you lift your eyes to the leaves in wonder on a day like today, you know that you did not paint them golden with your own hand. Without expectation of reward or reciprocity, your awe is lifted up to a system that includes you, but is not at all about you, and you know yourself to be dependent upon and connected to glorious things. You cannot be grateful outside of some relationship to that which is worthy of your gratitude. You can't be relieved to hold on to the gift of life unless you are willing to assert on a spiritual rather than transactional level that life is a gift in the first place. Life, wrote the poet Marge Piercy, is the first gift we are all given. Love is the second, and understanding is the third. Life is the first gift we are given. Love is the second, and understanding is the third. And you cannot give those gifts purely to yourself. You did not birth yourself. Your love extends far beyond yourself. All these gifts exist only in relationship, and they are right here, waiting, not because you must muster the ability to be grateful and optimistic at all times, but because the profligate hand of creation has strewn this glory all about us, if only we are looking. Gratitude is so much more than transaction. It is so much more than an emotional response to a random stroke of luck. It is so much more than the sum of all our personal efforts, so much more than a health and beauty regimen for lucky people that makes us glow with good news. We know this, because gratitude is available to us whether or not we are on the receiving end of a great big present with a bow tied around it. Because gratitude surprises us in unlikely places. It sneaks up on us when we are attuned to the practice of perceiving it. We know that gratitude is more than transaction because real gratitude does not always attach itself to pure things or uncomplicated truths. It attaches itself to the lived experience of our lives, all complicated and muddy and broken and strange as ever they were. True gratitude does not wait around for an unbroken thing to be grateful for. It presents itself like a guest in your doorway and asks to be let in whether you were planning on feeling grateful today or not. It is something greater and deeper than the privileged occasion of counting your blessings and the but for the grace of God go I schadenfreude of thinking on all the sufferings you have not had to face. The kind of gratitude we speak of today is not available only to the lucky or the glowing or the well-dressed or the wealthy or the shiny or the pure. In these times, it is important to note that kind of gratitude is not only available to us when the votes are cast our way, or the fires have finally stopped burning, or the bullets finally stop flying, or the headlines finally and fully speak of peace and more peace. No. The gratitude we speak of today does not wait around for unbroken things. It does not reserve itself for pure and uncomplicated emotions. It meets us in the complexity. It reaches out from the dust and ashes and presents itself in the glory of what surrounds us even now, especially now, when there is still plenty to lament, to grieve, and to survive. Would I choose to go break the camera at the CVS and spill the gasoline and pollute the watershed and stand there in the line looking like a fool just for the opportunity to misperceive something beautiful on a Thursday night? No. Am I grateful for mechanical failure and groundwater pollutants? It is safe to say I am not. And if I went around breaking security cameras for the chance to see abstract art in my own imagination, you would recommend I take a nice long vacation starting about now. But the glory of it all is that gratitude doesn't have to work that way. Being grateful doesn't mean retroactively blessing every broken thing that brought you here. It does not mean forgiving every circumstance that led to your deep sorrow. It doesn't even mean saying that everything is okay on some fundamental level when objectively it is not. Being grateful, however, does involve perceiving beauty in whatever form it is presented. It does entail remaking your own eyes for the practice of wonder. It does mean that the doors of this guest house of ours, this life we are living, are wide open to the world, not just in exchange for its perfection, but in celebration of its profligate and complex glory. Here we are. The doors of our hearts are wide open. May we say to the imperfect world, come in. You are welcome here, and thank you.